G'day. Well, I finally got it finished. 250 nuclear plants producing 625,000 megawatts and also producing 2,500 nuclear waste per minute. Now, I've had this system running for a few hours now, and I've troubleshot a couple little minor details, and it seems like everything is pretty damn good. So what I'm going to be going through is basically how this all works, and I'm going to share the save file, and I'll put a link to the save file in the description. Alright, so let's just start with the nuclear plants themselves. I have hooked it all up and I'm feeding it 50 uranium fuel rods per minute, and I'm actually creating 50.4 per minute, and I chose to use 250 nuclear plants as opposed to 252, which I could run off what the amount I'm making, because I like that number and to work with, and I like to feed my power plants slightly more than they need, because I like to have, here you can see the power and the power line up the top here, I like to see a nice flat line, never fluctuating. That's just my personal preference. Alright, so I used the pump cheat method. Well, it's not really a cheat, it's just a method. You'll notice that all these water extractors here don't actually have pumps on them, and I'm able to pump the fluid all the way up to the top of each nuclear plant, and that's because on the side here, and you would have seen me in a previous video if you watched it struggling with this because I had it all set up wrong, but it works really good now. So I've got the same at the other end down there. We pump the water up to the top. I'm only using about 5 pumps into a buffer, and that buffer probably doesn't even need to be there, and then back down. And then I run this line here all the way along the back. So for each stack of 5 reactors, there's 5 pumps running at 300, and this 600 line connects in with every one of these. Alright. Now, if you haven't seen any of my other videos before, yes, I've used mods to make this. However, I haven't added anything new to the game. I've used area actions mainly to copy the machines, and as you'll know, I still have to put all the pipes in and all the belts in manually, so it still took quite some time, not to mention the power lines themselves. Alright, just a quick look at the way I've routed this. So the nuclear fuel rods come in from the train, and we'll go through that later. Come in here. I did have a buffer here. I probably don't need that there anymore, but it's just there. We come in, we split left and right, and we also split up through a little hole there, and then we split left and right and up. Quite simple, really, to be honest. I could probably, I kind of neatened it. Left and right up, and with the waste, it's essentially the reverse of that. So all the waste comes back down, merges in. The way I've done this is the 5 rows, so we've got 5 rows of 50 here. The 5 rows come down the center, the back row goes all the way down, more rows joining up, and I do have a little bit of load balancing here. So you notice I've got 4 lines. Well, essentially I've just made this back row here, which is the top row, split 4 ways and rejoin the other 4 lines. So then I have 4 even lines of uranium waste, and it totals 2,500 per minute. Alright, now before we go across to the factories, I'll point out the way I'm doing the dealing with the waste. I'm using trucks, and I'm actually using the plutonium fuel rods as truck fuel, and I can tell you now, it is OP as hell. I love it. So my trucks, I'll just bring up the map here real quick. There's no trucks inside. Here comes a truck now. Actually, we'll zip over and have a look at these trucks. So they've come across from the entire other side of the world. If I have a look at this guy, He hasn't even used a plutonium fuel rod yet. You'll see he's got 50 inside him, like this guy. And I'm pretty sure they can do more than one trip without using a rod. Because every now and then you'll get a guy come over here with 49 in him, and they refuel the rods at the other end. But yeah. Alright, so a couple of things. They come in here. I initially thought I was going to need like, so I had to run the route 4 times, 4 separate runs. It took about 15 or so minutes for a return trip. So I did that 4 times. It's between 15 and 20 minute return trip. And then I added onto each route another truck. So there's 2 trucks on each route. And I thought, man, I'm going to have to add so many trucks, and I don't. I could almost get away with 4 trucks, I reckon. Because the nuclear, they stack in 500. Yes, I got God mode on at the moment. And these trucks can just hold so much. So there's 4,000 in there, but it really doesn't take that much. Anyway, so I'll just quickly show on the map here. Alright, so we're back over in the manufacturing area. We've had a truck just drop a load off of waste. I'll explain what I've done with the load balancing here. So 4 different trucks dropping off sometimes chunky amounts of waste, and you'll see that this truck station at the moment doesn't have any coming in, and these 2 do. That one's got 3,000, this one's nearly done. Oh no, this one's got 8,000. So this one's got a whole bunch, so it must have had 2 trucks recently drop a couple of loads off. And this one's got none. Now the reason I've come up here, and this may look a bit crazy just looking at it, which it does, and I think it looks pretty cool actually. The reason I've done it this way is because I want, no matter how many stations are unloading, whether I've got 1 station unloading or all 4 of them unloading, what I want to do is up here, is I definitely want to be feeding these evenly, these production lines, because these are the production lines dealing with the nuclear waste. Right, so that's why I've got this crazy ass like load balancing thingy happening. Right, so basically this truck station goes to all 4 production lines, this truck station goes to all 4 production lines, and with all of them evenly. And you can see, and I messed it up the first few times, I had to fix it. If we have a look along here, you can tell that they're all getting fed evenly. Alright, so that's that. It takes a bunch of silica, a bunch of nitric acid, and a bunch of sulfuric acid. Alright, let's just follow the production line across. All of this comes along here, and I do have this just slightly more machines than I need. Okay, so it can always handle the amount of waste coming in. Alright, we'll talk about this in a sec. Comes across into our particle accelerators, and these take 450 aluminium casing, and they deal with all the non-fissile uranium, and we make the plutonium rods. Now look at these boys cranked up all the way. All of these are triple sharded. But look how much power they use, 3,250, like more than they're like a nuclear power plant in itself, a nuclear power plant and a half in itself. Maybe that'll change it if they bring in the linear power shards, but anyway, as you can see, I'm making so much power that does not matter. Power does not concern me, right? And I use shards because I want to go crazy on this world, and I'm trying to avoid lag, so less machines. Alright, so the 450 of those come in here with 22.5 pressure conversion tubes, which are a bloody complex item to make. And we get 22.5 plutonium fuel rods per minute. I know it's only a small number, but it's quite a lot. Like, that is quite a lot. And they go off, the plutonium rods go off, and they all split off and go into our truck stations for truck fuel. I've got a little stash of them there. I don't know why. I could probably get rid of that. And obviously the rest are just getting synced down. So no waste nuclear build. Alright, so the rest of the build is basically making these pressure conversion tubes, and all the other factories I went through in a previous video. Alright, so it's just our radio control units, fairly complex item. Heat sinks, high-speed connectors, all right. And I got a bunch of manufacturers cranked up to bloody double speed. What's this thing called again? Fused modular frame. All right. Heavy modular frames, aluminium, nitric acid, and fuel. And these guys are, what are they? Double sharded. Alright, this under here is a basic aluminium setup, or aluminum if you're American. This here is just a silica load balancing area. I've got a few different lines here I had to load balance evenly. And so I did it in there and just chucked a roof on it. And then the last thing we look at is the heavy modular frames. Alright, and I'm making this many, and it takes this sort of stuff here. Alright, nothing crazy, heavy modular frames. Whew, so, a lot of work has gone into this. Everything in this world is just for the nuclear setup. With my numbers, just a quick note on the numbers. A good example here is for the, what are we doing? Wait, for our pressure conversion tubes, I need 22 of these, and this is an example of what I do pretty much throughout the whole build. I need 22.5, right? So how many am I actually making? I'm making 23. I round up. When it comes to power, or when it comes to most of the things I build, I'll always round up, all right? So I need 46 of these radio control units, and I'm making 48.75. And that's just because of the way the machines work out. When I work out numbers, I always round up. So if something tells me to make, I don't know, 24.7 assemblers, I'll make 25 assemblers. And that way, I know that everything is always going to run. All right, so if ever you see a machine yellow, none of these are yellow at the moment, a yellow machine, it won't be because it's lacking, it'll be because it's full. And I'm happy with that. That's how I roll. That's how I'm rolling with this build anyway. All right, that's probably about it, guys. I'm actually pretty, I'm pretty proud of this build. It's a pretty technical build, as in like everything has to run smoothly. And if I just have a look along here, you see every machine is like working. And this has been running, all of these are power sharded except for the end here. It's been running for quite some time, and I've had to fix up a few niggling things. On the live stream, I had to fix up the nitric acid, but that's completely fixed now. So we got, look, these lines are pretty much banging in at 600 constantly. What's the last thing I had to fix on the live stream was the limestone. Up here, this is the solution I came up with. I don't know if anyone was watching towards the end there. I had this setup here logistically just way more complicated than I needed it to be. I think I had a couple of beers when I laid it out. It was actually quite simple. There's 3 pure nodes coming on 4 train stations. So I essentially just smashed 3 train stations into the the containers, and the 4th station splits into those. And this has been running for hours now, and I haven't had a problem. And it just looks way more simple than that bloody schmozzle I had set up before. All right, so that's it. I'm going to share the file with you. Just one bit of admin, I guess, for sharing the file. Yes, this save is modded. However, it could technically be achieved in vanilla. So I haven't added anything to the game that isn't in the game. I've just used area actions to help me build creative mode. Yep, I've played vanilla builds in the past before and I love it, but for this build, I haven't. So when you load into this map, if you get it, you can totally just, if you don't want to use mods, if you're that way inclined, you can just rock up without mods, come straight vanilla, run out of the hub, and I've put a bunch of stuff here for you. So hover packs, jet packs, blade runners, and fuel. I put some tickets there, just, I don't know why you'd want them, but just in case. I've got all the hazmat gear you need in this little tub. We've got all the weapons and stuff you could possibly want in here, and in here a whole bunch of inhalers, and even we've got the gas mask in here. Right, so you can get around with a hover pack, jet pack, and whatnot. And if you want some vehicles, in here, in this box, is all the supplies you need to build a couple of trains, a couple of explorers, and there's a couple of factory carts in there as well if you want to run around vanilla. Now I haven't set up the hypertubes in this yet. This hypertube is set up. Oops. This hypertube's set up, but I actually haven't powered it up. So when I started building this, I had the no power cheat on, but now I don't have the no power cheat on. Everything's running legit, and that's it. Hope you guys enjoy it. So what's next for me? I'm probably going to continue with this world, but as we know, let's go over here and have a look. We know that this whole map has changed. At this point, at the time that I'm releasing this video, all we've seen is a little teaser video of what this looks like, and it does look pretty bloody good. And the reason I built this so high up in the air is because I knew that was going to happen. But I do plan on using all the nodes in this map, making as much stuff as I can, going a bit crazy until the game says I can't handle it anymore, essentially. And that's it. The other thing I've been doing, well, I've been looking at is a bit of speed running. There's a guy called Epiphane, and I've been watching some of his videos, and it looks pretty damn fun. I'm going to start streaming a bit of that. By no means am I going to be good at it. It's probably going to be more of a speed jog than a speed run, but it does look like a bit of fun, so I'm going to try a bit of that as well. Alright, catch you later.